Hello students, and a very warm welcome to all of you. Today we are going to end the chapter with a very small topic. One is viroid and another one is lichen. Now just studying about the lichens, let's have a very quick discussion about the viroids. Viroids are just like similar to that of viruses. So in the last class we discussed about different characters related to virus along with their nature, that whether they are living or non-living. And also we discussed about the cell structure, that with what material the viruses are made up of, and we discussed about different types of viruses such as the tobacco mosaic virus, bacteriophage, and the different types of animal viruses. Now let's come to viroids. So viroids are an infectious agents that are smaller than virus and it lacks capsid. As we know that the virus, they are made up of nucleoproteins. That means the genetic material is the DNA or the RNA, and their body it is made up of proteins. And one such layer of protein is the capsid layer, which surrounds the genetic material. So here they do not have any kind of capsid layer over their body structure, and the genetic material for them is the RNA molecule, and these RNAs, they are not associated with any kind of proteins. This virus, it was first discovered by a scientist named T.O. Diner in 1971, and there they have found some results as that they have a very low molecular weight and they are generally infectious agents and known to cause certain diseases such as the potato spindle tuber disease, citrus exocortis disease. So these are some diseases which are caused by the viroids. So similar such other structures which are very much similar to that of viroids are maybe virions. Then comes there are different names related to virions. There are different strains which are related to viroids. Similarly, there are different strains or different types related to the virus. So they are very much similar, but because of some changes in their either the genetic material or the protein material, they are named in different ways, and such one of them is the viroids. Now let's discuss about a very different topic than that of viruses or viroids, is the lichens. What are lichens? Now that would be the question that would be arising in your mind now. Lichen is a symbiotic association of a fungus and an alga. It is a symbiotic relationship, that means a mutual relationship where a fungus and an alga that means the algae which belongs to the plant kingdom, they lives together. Where do we find them? Now they make their habitat on tree barks, decaying wood, barren rocks, cooled volcanic lava, and mostly in icy alpine and tundra habitat. They are found to live in symbiotic association, that means in a friendly relationship over the tree barks, decaying wood, barren rock, that means over the rock surface which do not have any life upon it, then cold volcanic lava, and mostly in the icy regions of the temperate habitat, that is the alpine or the tundra habitat. Now such structures are called as lichens. In India, there are a few members such as Cladonia, Parmelia, Usnea, Physia, etc. There are more than 400 genera and 15,000 species of lichens, and they grow mostly on every possible habitat of the world, right from the polar region to the equatorial region. Now the question comes that what is the composition of the lichen? As we know that the lichen, that is a symbiotic association of a fungus and an alga. Now not all types of fungus or not all type of alga or the algae, they comes to form the mutual relationship between each other. So here the fungus, they are mostly from the Basidiomycetes and the Ascomycetes class, and the algae, that is generally from the green algae and the blue-green algae. The blue-green algae, which is also called as cyanobacteria. So generally these two groups of the fungus and the alga, they come up together, where the fungus gives shelter to the algae and the algae gives food to the fungus. As we know that the fungus, they cannot prepare their own food and they derive their food from other organisms, either dead or living. And the alga, which belongs to the plant kingdom, and therefore they have photosynthetic pigment, and with the help of the photosynthetic pigment they can prepare their own food. So in this way, these two organisms, two different organisms, they come together and they live together, and that forms an association which is called as lichen. So similar to lichen are the mycorrhiza, where the fungus, they lives in mutual relationship with the higher roots of plants, and such type of association is called as mycorrhiza. So this is how the lichens, they look like over their substratum. So they generally needs a substratum. Here these are the different types of lichens, and this white one, that is quite common over the bark of the betel nut tree. So that is quite common here. So this is another one, and in case of each of them, what we have seen in the picture is that they have different morphological structures. So based on their habit, form and mode of occurrence, the lichens are divided into three types: crustose lichen, foliose lichen and fructicose lichen. Now let's discuss these three types of lichens in details. Now the first is the crustose type. So from the word crustose, it means that here the lichens, they are flattened thallus closely attached to the substratum and looks like crust. So here they have the body structure which is called as thallus in case of the lichen. So they are flat in their structure and they are very much attached, or the whole body that is attached to the substratum, that is the place over which they grow. And therefore, since they are attached directly to the substratum, they quite resemble like that of some crust. And some examples of the crustose type are the Graphies. So this is very much common here. Hematoma, Veroscaria, Lycanora, Rhizocarpon, etc. So here from the diagram, I think you can see the structures. Next comes the foliose lichens. So this foliose lichen, they are also flat structures and they have a dorsiventral body. That means they have a upper side and the lower side expanded, and now in this case they are leaf-like appearance of the thallus with irregular margin. In case of the crustose type, it was not that quite that of a leaf, so they have a irregular outline. But in case of the foliose type, here the lichens, they appears to be like some small leaf, and that is why the word it is given as folios. Folio, that means leaf-like. So leaf-like appearance of the thallus gives its name as the folios, and they are also attached to the substratum by means of root-like rhizoids. So here are some species of the foliose type. So here from the diagram you can see, and these are generally the Phyceae, Parmelia, Peltigera, etc. And the last one is the fructicose lichen. The fructicose lichen, they are much branched and bushy in their appearance. They have an erect body, and the lower part it is also attached to the substratum with the help of some root-like unicellular rhizoids, or they may have some basal ends to which they are attached to the substratum. So here some examples are Usnea, Cladonia, Ramalina, etc. So they are quite common in the polar regions. Also, some are found in India, such as Usnea, that is a species which is found in India also. So here are some pictures of the fructicose lichens. So this is the bushy appearance. So as you can see that they appears to be in different colors. So they bear, in fact any kind of lichen, they bear different types of colors. Now after discussing the different morphological structures of the lichen body, now let's discuss about the economic importance of lichen. So there are many uses of lichens. So out of this, we are going to just discuss about the 5 points. The first is the pioneers of rock vegetation. The lichens, they act as the pioneer. Pioneer means the first that establishes itself over a barren rock. As we know that the rock surface, they do not bear any kind of life. So these lichens, they are helpful, or they penetrate into the rock surface and they have their first vegetation over it, and in that way that leads to the weathering process of the rock, and slowly by slowly other vegetations they occupy the rock surface, and this is how that the soil it is formed from the rocks. So that is why the lichens, they are called as the pioneers on the barren rocks, as well as they are also pioneers over new terrains, then over the cold volcanic lava where we do not see any kind of life. So there also the lichens, they make their first habitat. So this is one very important use of lichens for our vegetation. The next comes about the food and the fodder. So some lichens such as Lecanora, Aspicalia, so they are used as food by caterpillars, snails, larvae of insects, etc. Whereas some lichens such as Cladonia, that is also used by some polar region animals such as reindeer, caribou, musk ox, etc. So this Cladonia rangiferina, that is regarded as the reindeer mouse, because the reindeers, they mostly feed themselves with this lichen which is called as Cladonia. Then some people from the regions like Scandinavia and Iceland, they also feed themselves, the people over there, they feed themselves with a lichen which is called as Citraria Icelandica. Then comes the another species, that is Parmelia. So Parmelia, it is used as curry powder in India. So Different lichens, they are used as food and fodder by human as well as the other animals. Now next, let's come to the medicinal use. So lichens, they have a great importance in the medicinal field, and they are seen to cure many diseases such as hydrophobia. Hydrophobia can be cured with a lichen named Peltigera. Then comes Lobaria pulmonaria, so which is seen to cure or treatment for lungs diseases. Then Evernia, that is used in curing the cough or the prolonged cough that some people have. Then comes Xanthoria, so it is used in the treatment of jaundice as an alternate medicine. So these are some kind of medicine that can be used for the treatment of different kind of diseases. And some lichens also have some antibiotic properties such as Usnea cladonia. So they secrete usnic acid, and that is used as the antibiotic property. Then next comes the industrial use. So industrially, as I have said, that the lichens, they bear different kind of colors. So these colors, they are extracted and they are used for dyeing and tanning. They're in the to make different kind of fabrics in case of the textile industries. And another very important agent, that is Rochella, which is a lichen. So it is very much useful in making a very common used product in our laboratories, especially for biochemical purposes. So that is the litmus paper. So litmus paper, that is the indicator of pH. So this litmus paper, it is colored with the lichen which is called as Rochella tinctoria. Then comes the other industrial uses, such as they are also used for brewing and distilling, and such type of lichens are Cladonia, Citraria, and also they are used in the preparation of perfumes. So some lichens such as Ramalina, Evernia, they have a very sweet scent of their thallus, and that is why they are used in the preparation of the incense stick or different kind of soaps, etc. And they are also used in the perfumes. Then last and a very important one is the indicator of air pollution. So lichens are very sensitive to air pollutions, and especially where the concentration of sulfur dioxide is more in the atmosphere. So they generally die in such environment. Therefore, the absence of lichens over such area where air pollution is more indicates that it is highly polluted with air. So these are some important economic importance of the lichens. So lichens, they are nothing, they are just a symbiotic association of two type of organism. That is, one is the fungus and another one is the plant, which is called as the algae. So they are not a different plant, but simply you can remember or keep in mind them as a symbiotic association of two different kind of organism, and these two different kind of organism is the fungus and the algae. And as different type of fungus, that is from the class Basidiomycetes and Ascomycetes, similarly the algae, that is the green algae and the blue-green algae, they are associated with themselves. That is why they bears different kind of structures, and on the basis of those structures that we can have the different types of lichens, and those lichens are named just along with the type of morphology that I have said, or during the discussing during the economic importance of the lichens. So this is all for this chapter. So in this chapter we discuss about the different kingdoms, mostly the Monera, Protista and the fungi. Then we move to the viruses, and today we discuss about the last part of the chapter, that is the lichen. And the other two chapters, that is plant kingdom and animal kingdom, that will be discussed separately and in detail. So today I end this chapter, biological classification, and if you have any doubt, then do try to clarify your doubt by sending me your queries. Thank you.